All right, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson again. Thank you very much for joining the post-game call-in show. We'll start the post-game call-in show momentarily, right after this game, but you guys can certainly chat in the chat box. Had to start another stream just for this particular show. So Alabama currently up 52-44. We got 2 minutes left in this game. Call-in line is at the bottom of the screen, as you can see. 205-850-0883. Is the call-in line number. I'll take your calls right after the game ends. We also got Nick Saban's press conference along with Dan Mullins. So stick with us right here on BamaInsider.com. Thank you very much for hopping over into this stream. And currently we got 52-44. We'll continue to keep you updated on this particular game, as it is now 52-46. With Alabama leading. It's a nail biter, to say the least. I'll put the score stream back on, and then we'll get going right here on BamaInsider.com on the post-game call-in show. Be right back here on Bama Insider. All right, we got the onside kick coming up right here on Bama Insider, and let's see what happens as Florida is set to kick. And here we go. It's going to be. This is this. You wanted a nail biter? This is. Oh my goodness. Okay, Devontae Smith, of course. Hey, so the call-in line number is at the bottom of your screen. It is 205-850. I'll take your calls as soon as the game ends right here on Bama Insider. Of course, it would go to Devontae Smith. Look at that. All right, so it's 52-46, and as soon as the game ends, I'll take your call, so you guys can see the call-in line number at the bottom of the screen. We'll have Nick Saban's press conference, and we'll be right back here on Bama Insider. All right, friends, thank you very much for joining me right here. You guys are early to the post-game call-in show. But we're all good to go. So, the lines are open 205-850-0883, and we'll take your calls. We'll also have Nick Saban's press conference posted as soon as we can get it right here on BamaInsider.com, along with Dan Mullins of Florida. So tons of coverage coming your way right here on Bama Insider. Stay with us. There's a minute 24 as Alabama looks to close out this game and win the SEC championship. I mean, it was quite the nail biter, right? I mean, this was the game that Alabama was a 14-point favorite in this game. It's 3rd-9. See what happens. Be right back. All right. This isn't what you want towards the later part of the game, right? 4th and 12, clock winding down. I mean, yeah, Alabama's up, but I don't know about the clock management right there. What can you do? 52-46. We'll start the post-game call-in show in just a minute, but right now Alabama trying to hang on to this lead right here with 38 seconds. Looks like they're going to take it down to under 30 seconds, and then Florida's going to have a few opportunities. Yikes. So they'll take the penalty and then they'll punt. So they're going to have 26. You look at the punt, probably take away, depending on, what type of punt it is, 5 seconds, I guess. So Florida's going to have 20 seconds to win this football game, or to try to win this football game, right? Stay with us. We'll take your calls right after the game right here on Bama Insider. It's the post-game call-in show. We'll also have Nick Saban's press conference posted as soon as possible right here on Bama Insider. 52-46, right? What happened to defense? Defense is like, 2005? I mean, the over-under was, what was it, 70 in this game? Two teams have almost hit 100 points, 98 points up to this point. Post-game call-in show will start momentarily right after this game. It's going to be wow, what a punt right there. That was just what they needed. Wow, that was Charlie Scott talking about the punt that you absolutely needed. He crushed it, right? Jeez. That was fantastic. Jeez, that's what you need. Wow. $16 seconds. That's wow. Unbelievable. What a game this has been, right? You're going to hear a screenshot, 2 seconds. That's it. That's a game. Alabama, SEC champs. Wow. Unbelievable. What a game. That was it. That's it. That's a wrap. Unbelievable. What a game. Alabama, SEC champs. What a game. Wow. What a game. All right. We'll take your calls. And up first on the post-game call-in show. Wow, what a game. Alabama has defeated Florida 52-46. Thumbs up on this video. We appreciate it. What an ending. We'll have Nick Saban and Dan Mullins press conference posted right here on Bama Insider. And our first call of the night, we're going to take it. It's from the 504, and we'll take it right now. Start the show up. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This Quan calling from New Orleans, Kyle.
Man, Quan, oh my goodness. That was a lot of points. Najee Harris, certainly the MVP, man. Your takeaways from this game?
Man, it was a reminiscent of Oxford, Mississippi to me, Kyle.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Golden could not make no adjustments throughout this game, Kyle. And in my mind, Florida could have won this game. I know we don't get into the coulda, woulda, shouldas, but this game was just extremely too close, Kyle. It was just too tight. It was no adjustments made. And you know, me and you've talked about the secondary, the safety play. We've talked about that several times throughout the season, man. It's just the safety play. And I've been feeling like it tonight. It wasn't so much Daniel Wright. It was kind of Jordan Battle a little bit, missing plays. And then, you know, the true freshmen, Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. Today was the first time all season that we actually seen and said to ourselves, okay, they true freshmen. You know, it was just a game that it was an ugly win. You know, it was an ugly win. I didn't think Florida was going to put up 46 on us and take us to basically a wire. And I mean, I'm glad Matt and the offense got their numbers, and you know, we had a good offensive game plan. Minus the third quarter, I feel like Sark could have called better plays in the third quarter. Felt like the third quarter when we gave him those 2 3 and outs. Felt like we had momentum. We was moving the ball. I didn't too much like Sarkisian play calling in the third quarter. I feel like he got a little better in the fourth quarter with it. But overall, I'm glad we got the win, Kyle. But it was a sloppy game, man. It was a sloppy game on the defensive side of the ball.
On the line with Quan from New Orleans. Alabama defeats Florida 52-46 to win the SEC championship. As we look at some of these stats right here after the game, incredible stats. I mean, these numbers are ridiculous. 33 of 43 for Mac Jones, 418 yards, 5 touchdowns. But I think the star of the night clearly was Najee Harris with his overall performance. I would assume that he's the MVP. 31 rushing attempts, 178 yards with 2 touchdowns, and then also 5 receptions for 67 yards with 3 touchdowns. So 5 touchdowns in this game, really stepped up and showed that he can put the team on his back. We all knew he could, but to see him do it in this particular game, I think the big storyline, Quan, towards the end of the game, losing Landon Dickerson. I mean, I don't know, you know, what the extent of his injury is. We're going to get with Nick Saban. Here he is, came back with his team. He has his hat on right here on the broadcast, but that would be monumental if Alabama loses Landon Dickerson. Let's kind of talk about Pete Golding real quick, and then we're going to fly through our calls tonight. We got a ton of calls to get through, but Quan, let's talk about can you turn the broadcast down in the background, Quan?
Okay, I'm sorry about
You're
that.
Good, man.
I'm sorry about that.
Hey, Quan,
Okay.
let's talk about this for a second. We knew that Florida was going to get their points, right? I mean, the over-under was 70 in this game. And, you know, I think that, you know, Florida putting up 46 points. I mean, is that surprising to you? Is that on Pete Golding? Is that credit to Dan Mullen and Kyle Trask and the receivers that they have? What's your take on that?
I think it's Pete Golding. I got to go with Pete Golding. I mean, I didn't see no adjustments, Kyle. I mean, I thought tonight we looked at like the first 3.5 games of the season. I thought we had put that behind us. I thought we knew how to make adjustments. It just seemed like the game plan was just it was all the way off. It wasn't on point. It just, you didn't see execution on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Florida ran all over us. I don't feel like Florida's going in their locker room with their head down. Florida going in there feeling like we should have won that game.
Yeah.
And to me, it goes back to Pete Golding. I mean, I seen on Twitter, you guys put a snapshot. It looked like Nick Saban was in his ear, chewing him out, telling him, you know, it was no adjustments made tonight, you know, and now that we finna get in the playoff, Kyle, you know as well as I know, we finna see better teams in Florida now.
Yeah, no.
So if we can't make adjustments, I mean, we going home early if he can't make adjustments. I mean, Mac and them can only do so much. Najee and Devontae and them, you know, those guys they can carry us so much, but at some point, Kyle, our defense got to be able to stop somebody.
Yeah, and before I let you go, Quan, thank you very much for being patient and to call on. I'm gonna get to my next caller, Quan, but thank you very much for calling in early, man.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm just gonna fly through the calls tonight, okay?
All right, no problem. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, man. We'll catch up with you next time. That's Quan from New Orleans. We got a 704-716-228 and a 251 on the call queue. So you guys be patient. We'll be with you momentarily right here on BamaInsider.com. I'm going to fly through the calls tonight. It's already 11 p.m. Central Time. I know there's a lot to talk about, but there's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow as well, as Alabama will now, figure out who they're going to play in that 1-4 matchup, which will be announced tomorrow. Now, I think with this, when you look at Alabama and Pete Golding, you see the 46 points on the board. Look, I think there's a couple of takeaways. Number one, Florida has a really, really good offense. Okay. Really good quarterback, good receivers all across the board. But I think in my mind, Pete Golding was coaching for his job in this game, right? So your overall impression, I mean, you saw Nick Saban get onto him. We don't know what they're saying because they have masks on and, we can't obviously hear them. But if you're looking at kind of like exit interviews, how you did at the later part of the season in your most critical game, 52-46, 46 points. You kind of zoom in to look at how many points that Florida put up and yards. I mean, 462. And by the way, these stats, as you can see, it's stat broadcast that we use. So they messed up on the graphics. So as I didn't do the graphics, I don't keep track of the graphics. So as you can see, look, it has Alabama passing, but it has the logos reversed. So please don't pay attention to that. I know it's it's really confusing when you look at this. It's confusing for me to look at this the entire game. I didn't create the stats. I just read the stats. Okay. So please just notate that. We're going to fly to our next caller, and we got a 704, and we're going to take it right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Demetrius from North Carolina, Kyle.
Hey, what's up, Demetrius? Appreciate you calling in, man. Let's get right to it, man. Takeaways on this game.
Let's go ahead and get to it, man. I don't care how you slice the pie. A win is a win. Sometimes you got to win sometimes you got to win some games like this. That's why we got a powerful offense. Our offense, help carry the defense. In years past, it could have been some games that we didn't have. We didn't have the offense to do this, but we do now. And I know the defense kind of, came out and didn't play up to what they've been playing these last several weeks, but hey, if y'all think as a fan, if y'all think Florida was not up for this game, I don't know what planet y'all on. If the way they played tonight, they could have put them points on anybody in college football. I don't care who it is. What defensive coordinator? They was laser focused. They wanted to come in and win this game from embarrassment of last week. So y'all can kill me with this Pete Golden stuff. Hey, Florida was gonna score them many points on anybody in college football tonight. And shout out to Najee Harris. The young man played lights out. Lights out. I know we're going to come up against better competition, but we will not face another team that had offensive firepower like Florida did tonight. Come in laser focused. I don't care what none of the other callers say. Nobody think. Florida was ready. They came out, but went round for round with them. And in the end, we got the decision.
On with Demetrius from North Carolina. I appreciate you calling in, Demetrius. Let's talk about Najee Harris a little bit. 31 carries, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 67 yards. I know the Heisman talk is on Mac Jones and Devontae Smith, and rightfully so. All these guys have had an incredible season. But, the play of Najee Harris was simply incredible tonight. You agree with that?
Man, like I say, he was lights out. He was like Mike Tyson when he fought Michael Spinks. He was lights out, ready to knock it. Hey, that's how the young man performed tonight, and I'm proud of him. And as far as the Heisman, as far as I'm concerned, I want a national championship first before I get a Heisman.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I think you're right. I just think that, the overall play, there was a lot of stake. There was a lot at stake tonight, in terms of these guys coming out, and you see big time players step up in big time games. And I think, Najee Harris clearly being a leader of this team and demonstrating, how hard he's worked to get to this level. It's really incredible to see him play through it. Hey, Demetrius, before I let you go, man, give me your final thought. Who makes the playoffs tomorrow and why?
Of course, us, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. And, that's all I got to say. Najee Harris, he was lights out, and it was the process. Him and Smitty done exemplified the process this year. Stuck around for the senior year. This is the process. The infamous process. That's what on display with Najee Harris tonight.
All right, Demetrius, I got to run to my next caller, man. But thank you so much for calling in, and I'll catch
Roll
up with you
Tide.
next time. Roll Tide to you, buddy. See ya. All right, that was Demetrius from North Carolina. I want to get your take in the comment box about Pete Golding, because I think, you could look at it a couple different ways. And by the way, these guys are giving some great interviews right now on CBS after winning the SEC championship. I mean, these guys are SEC champs, 11-0 on the season, will be the number one team in college football. Stay with us tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll have a playoff show, but we'll talk about the playoffs and kind of go through this. We're going to fly through the callers tonight. So call-in line is at the bottom of the screen, 205-850-0883. Sound off on Pete Golding. I want to take your want to get your thoughts kind of on the positives about this game and the negatives. You look, like Demetrius said, I think that Florida, I mean, that's a very, very talented defense or offense. I mean, you look at everything that they put together the entire season. You look at all their weapons. You look at Kyle Pitts. You look at Tony. I mean, these guys were incredible. So is it on Pete? I don't know. I want to get your take. We're going to go to the phone lines right now. We got a 716. We're going to take it right now. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
This is Jared, Kyle.
Jared, take it away, man. What are your takeaways? Alabama with a big victory over Florida. It was a shootout, probably closer than people expected. But, during this time of year, it's all about the offense, man. Take it away.
Well, like the last caller said, I'm going to say this. There were some things that I agree with him, and there were some things that I highly disagree with him about. Of course, this offense, this passing attack, it is the best passing attack in all of college football. Not every team has a Kyle Pitts who might be the best tight end I personally ever seen. I haven't seen a tight end close to his receiving receiving assets. I haven't seen anything close to it. That's Travis Kelce in a Florida Gators uniform. But I mean, we all knew what Florida was all about. They run five wide almost every single time. They love to space you out. They love to try to get the ball in open spaces. They can take shots deep down the field. They got red zone targets for days. Pete Golding, I thought, did a good job in the first half. I mean, we all know that you're not going to shut out this offense, especially because our personnel is really, really young. It's really, really young. They're still developing it, but it's not like this is 2016. This is the 2016 Alabama defense. So we all knew that they're not going to shut out Florida. This was going to be a game where you're going to have to capitalize on the opportunities and make adjustments in game in order for you to compete. And I feel like we did that in the first half. We did a good job getting off the field. It was 35-17 at half. And, normally when Alabama's up 35-17, the game's over. But in the second half, we failed to make any type of adjustments at all. Pete Golding, this is how I know Pete Golding was lost. When we ran a 3-2-6 and you're running quarters, that is how I know that you're lost. It's 3rd and 17. Yes, I get it. And you're playing very, very conservative. But Florida did a great job of getting the correct matchups in the second half, getting Kyle Pitts on Dylan Moses, getting Kadarius Toney on Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. We talked about this, Kyle, is Dan Mullen and that offensive I forgot who their offensive coordinator is, but they do a good job of finding the correct matchup and exposing it. And they attacked it all day long. We had no answer at all in our secondary. We had no answer at all, no adjustments. We tried to play conservative. We tried to play three and we tried to play three back and have 6 defensive backs. We tried to rush 4. We tried to blitz. We couldn't handle it. We couldn't make any type of any adjustments that we tried to make. It was just stoned. And that is very, very concerning when you're going against some of the other better teams, because guess what? Clemson is very, very similar to Florida. They have a really, really good offense. They have an offensive line. They got receivers that can catch. They have playmakers on the outside. They have a running game. They have a defense. So when we talk about winning the national championship, in these types of games, you have to showcase that complete game. Clemson showcased it against a really good Notre Dame team that is a very, very physical team of running the football. And Clemson just made them. They just made them into little girls. So we got to do a better job of making adjustments. We got to do a better job of being physical, because I feel like we lost that physicality in the second half. And Pete Golding just looked lost. I mean, they showed some shots of him. He just looked lost. He had no answer at all to what Dan Mullen and that offense was presenting him the entire game.
On the line with Jarek from Buffalo. We appreciate the insight. We're flying through the calls tonight. I actually have some family that just got into town, so we're going to do like the SEC dark and get everything organized, and we're going to get out of here. And then we're also going to have Nick Saban and Dan Mullen's press conference momentarily right here on BamaInsider.com. Jarek, I think you bring up a great point. I mean, you compare you look at Florida, what they did to Alabama tonight, in terms of overall production. And I think Clemson is clearly the better team than Florida, and because they have a quarterback, who's very talented. They got the wide receivers, maybe not as dynamic as these Florida wide receivers, but I think their defense is much better. I think, Brett Venables is he's a very competent defensive coordinator coach. So I think that's really the only team when I kind of look at the remaining teams that will make the playoffs. Clemson is certainly that team that I kind of have circled. Let's talk about kind of some of the positives from tonight before we let you go. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous for the Heisman committee to try to figure out, is it Mac Jones? Is it Devontae Smith? Is it Najee Harris? Whatever. All those guys deserve credit. But the major storyline, Jarek, was Landon Dickerson. And if this guy is out for an extended time, the positive, I loved how the team came, and it just shows how much he plays a role to this team. But losing him would be detrimental, especially during the stretch. And kind of give me your final thought there, and then we got to move to our next caller.
Yeah, Dickerson, in my opinion, I think he's done. Just the way they were describing the injury, they said it was a lower leg injury, more to the knee extremity. When it happens to a big guy like that, and you see, and they talked about how Alex Leatherwood was crying on the sidelines, it's just that feeling right away. He's done. I think he's done, and I think he tried to keep. I think he tried to keep a positive mindset on, not trying to drag the players down. But yeah, I think he's done, and you can immediately just tell the impact that he had on that game. I mean, Chris Owens was in the game, and Chris Owens is getting pushed back 2-3 yards off the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have that physicality that Landon Dickerson have. Landon Dickerson, he provides that bravado, that type of swagger to the offensive line that builds confidence. And to see a guy like Leatherwood crying on the sidelines, losing their leader on the offensive line, that's a big blow, especially when you're going against the more physical fronts like the Ohio States, the Clemsons, or even the A&Ms if they rematch him in the world. So that's a big loss. As far as positives, I agree. I mean, the fact that we're going to have 3 Heisman finalists is going to be absolutely incredible. I don't know who they're going to give the award to. I think Devontae Smith, I think, is the best player in college football. I think he's made more dynamic plays. I feel like he's brought more of an impact to the team than Mac Jones did. And I love Mac Jones. I was one of the first people to say that Mac Jones was going to be a star on the football team. But, you look at Devontae Smith and look at what he's done for the football team ever since Jalen Waddle was out. He stepped up to being the man, of being the alpha of the offense. And, I just think that for him, 4 years of just consistency, 4 years of straight up consistency. He's had a bunch of moments this year. I think Devontae Smith deserves the award. I wouldn't be mad at all if they give it to Mac Jones or Najee Harris, or better yet, they just give it to Trevor Lawrence. Maybe that can provide some type of momentum to Alabama. But going into the playoffs, Kyle, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I'm not that confident at all that we're going to win the national championship. I know it's my first analysis. Maybe tomorrow I can sleep on it and I can call back again and I can change my tune. But looking just how we played on defense today, and especially when you're going against it's more Clemson, because I think Bama can beat Ohio State. I think they can beat A&M if they're in, or Notre Dame. It's Clemson that I'm worried about. It's the fact that Clemson is more of a complete team. And you saw what Trevor Lawrence was able to do out there, passing the ball and using his legs. We could not handle Kyle Trask when he was running those quarterback draws. He ran quarterback draws. He split us wide, and he split us down the middle. Guess what Trevor Lawrence does in Clemson? The exact same thing. And he's a way better athlete than Kyle Trask does. So right at this moment, Kyle, I am not confident at all that we can beat Clemson.
All right, we got to run to our next caller. Appreciate it, Jack. We'll catch up with you later, man.
All right.
All right, that was Jarek from Buffalo. Always provides some great insightful comments. We got Hunter in the queue. We got Tobias, and we got an action-packed show. We got Robert, and we're going to fly through the calls right here on BamaInsider.com. Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Hit the thumbs up button, like and subscribe. We got Nick Saban's press conference coming your way momentarily. We're flying through the calls tonight, so bear with me on that. And we got Hunter. We're going to take it right now. Hunter, man, let's get right to it.
Hey,
Tell me about this defense, man.
Man, I'm a little frustrated tonight. You know, I don't think it's all Pete Golden's fault tonight. I think there was some things that happened in that game. I mean, you got to give it all credit to Kyle Pitts, man. His game as a tight end and just the overall Gators game plan. I think they came up with a great game plan in order to beat us. But like I've said all year, I don't think there's anybody in college football right now that can stop our offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at, you kind of the teams that could potentially challenge Alabama, you look to what does their offense bring to the table, right? And we all kind of knew. I actually think that Florida's offense was a lot better than I even anticipated, to be honest. I think, kind of like Demetrius said in the beginning of the show, they were going to score their points. They were going to put up production. I credit these guys to, kind of come back after that loss against LSU and to be really dialed in, to be honest. I mean, they played a great game. They put points on the board. I think towards the end, they felt like they could beat, Alabama, and we're trying to. They just ran out of time. So you're saying it's not all on Pete Golding. It's kind of credit to the Florida offense. Is that what you're saying, Hunter?
Yeah, I think they played a lot better than they played against LSU last week, and I think they were a little bit motivated. And there was some adjustments I thought should have been made at halftime that Pete didn't make. But hindsight is 20/20. We won the game, and we just got to whoever we get matched up with in this playoff. He's got to have a better defensive game plan because that's not going to cut it against the Clemsons of the world where they have a Trevor Lawrence. So we've got to step up. Granted, Christian Harris probably wasn't 100% tonight. So we had a couple players down, but we'll see what happens.
Eric Owens right here in the comment box, he brings up a great point. I think, that there was that 3rd and 17 where Alabama just kind of, they floated everybody back, didn't even rush anybody. And that was a marquee play in that third quarter. You saw that Florida outscored Alabama in that third quarter, 14-0, and really had a lot of the momentum. So, what's your take on, kind of this Alabama defense? Because I think, they were playing so well up to this point, and I don't know if it's like you can contribute to that just to Florida's offensive potency, or if this is on Pete. And like I said at the beginning, like if Pete was coaching for his job, you definitely don't want to have anyone scoring 46 points. I mean, it seems like, over the last couple of years, teams have been scoring up in that over 40 threshold, and you just can't have it.
Well, 2 points I want to make real quick. When Emory Jones got into the game, both times he got into the game, it was obvious on run play. And he just did not send the rush to stop Emory Jones. And that provided them 2 first downs that shouldn't have happened, and it gave them more momentum. So that part of him is on Pete Golden. He should have sent, the rush in that situation, and he didn't. I don't know what was going through his mind there, but that should have been an obvious play call to send the rush there, and he just didn't. We dropped back to 2 corners.
All right, Hunter, give me a final thought, man, before we break out of here, because I gotta run through the calls tonight. Give me a final thought.
Final thought is roll tide, and we'll just see what happens. I'm cautiously optimistic for this playoff game, so we'll see what we can get done here in January. But roll tide, and I appreciate everything you do over there on YouTube, man. I really enjoyed the show.
All right, I appreciate it, Hunter. Thank you very much, man. Talk soon, okay?
Roll tide.
Roll Tide to you. That's Hunter out in Alabama. Yeah, I want to get your take on a couple things. I think the key takeaways from this game, kind of dissecting Alabama's defense, and can this defense stop a Clemson? I think that's the team that we all kind of know that can compete with Alabama. It's, you kind of looked at the teams that can put up the offensive production. Clearly, Clemson can. I looked at the way Notre Dame played today. Not worried about Notre Dame. Not worried about Texas A&M. We already saw that game, and not really worried about Ohio State. I didn't think their offense was overly impressive at all today. I'm really worried about Landon Dickerson. I mean, to see Alex Leatherwood crying on the sideline, I think that, that's obviously not a good sign. I don't have a status update on him. As soon as we know more, we will bring that to you right here on Bama Insider. We're going to take our next call, and that is going to be Tobias out in Fresno. Tobias, what's up, man? Good evening. I appreciate you staying with us.
Hey, man, how's it going, man?
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate all the super chats and all the nice things you do for us right here on Bama Insider, man. So take it away, man. I mean, it was
no, man. I appreciate all the things you do for us. What you talking
about? No, man, it works both ways, man. So let's dissect it. Go ahead, Tobias.
Okay, so I had put something in the chat this week, man. Worried about Sark, right? Taking this position. Somebody, wrote some snide remark to me, but what I was pointing out is that Nick does not like distractions.
Yeah.
And so I hate that it even got out that I know it's hard not to get out that you're interviewing,
sure.
But that's a big old distraction straight up.
Yeah.
So if he ends up getting this position, that could hinder the title chance. The other thing is Landon Dickerson, man, we cannot, Owens does not match up. That's not going to be a good thing. Achior continues to struggle a little bit. So if Dickerson is out, that is a big hit. Now, I know everyone is glorifying Clemson. I don't know. I'll watch the game, man. I'm going back and looking at the tape or whatever. I think Clemson plays more into a hand of something we actually can stop. So I kind of disagree with a few. Not that they're not a worry, but listen, Trevor Lawrence, he has all the measurables, and I think that's why everyone loves him. But just like Cal Trash, you throw into wide open people and stuff like that. I think what Mac Jones does, dissecting, is much more evident of a quality quarterback. Not to say that those other guys are not. So that's my take on all of this. Clemson, and no, I watched that game today. It was good. They put it on Notre Dame, but Notre Dame will simply expose people. Please. The committee has, and all of these rankings lied to us all year. They were never that good. So then when Clemson wins, then everyone's like, oh, they knocked off the number 2 team. It's like, they was never that good. So that's the way I saw it when I watched the game today. But I did want to say this to you, man. I think this game plays perfect into what Saban needs in order to get these guys ready. We did need a game like this, where it's basically Dan is running almost like a run and shoot, it looked like, out there. Because how many handoffs did they actually have this game? I know the other caller was worried about Trask. The runs that he made running those touchdowns, but that's because our boys wasn't counting the box. So our players were struggling with counting, in the box and keeping people in the box. And this was not a scheme thing. So this is, I don't know, Kyle, but you heard me kind of be critical of Golden. I'm not this game. This was mano y mano.
Yeah.
Surtain has to make that play. There's nothing Golden can't do nothing for you. Yeah. It's man to man. So you have to make that play. And our boys didn't make those plays. But guess what? Mika Fitzpatrick, go back and look at the first national championship where we beat Clemson, and I do believe that was the best Alabama team. That's just my opinion. I like 2011, but I think that team there had some And if this team makes it all the way through, then I will back up and say they're the best. However, Mika Fitzpatrick got picked on that whole game. He was a freshman. We have Malachi Moore, who's been developing, but he was baptized tonight. The other kid, Branch, got baptized tonight. D. Wright continues to make, the few mistakes. So I just want to say that I'm always like, oh, I don't know, Cal, help me out. Actually, today, I'm so proud of our guys going out there, and this is a game we needed to win, but get learning lessons from. And when I look at who the top 4 could be, Cal, you said you watched the game today. Come on, Cal, tell the truth. These teams are not good. They're not good. They're not good like that. So Alabama, if they can stay away from the COVID, if they can, if this Sark is not a distraction, if we can get the next man up, which is going to be tough. I don't know if Dalcourt Owens or who can do it if Dickerson can't go, because that's a big hit. But when you see Najee do what he did tonight, and you see what Mac did tonight, and we started getting our young players in, I got a feeling, Kyle, that if we can keep it together, this is a natty team straight up. From what my eyes saw as an ex-football player, D1 player, this is a natty team. So, anyway, what do you think? I should be asking you. You the expert, actually.
No, man. It's all about the dialogue. We're on with Tobias, and like I said, Tobias, I'm running through the calls tonight, so I'll kick the ball back one more time, and then we'll get on to our next caller right here on Bama Insider. Please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Hey, if you guys are curious to follow me on Twitter, Rivals_Kyle. I'd appreciate the follow, of course. All the coverage back at Bama Insider, and then of course we're going to have Nick Saban's press conference, Dan Mullen's press conference right here on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for all that. I think when you look at this game overall, it comes down to a couple things. I think number one, Alabama's offense. We know that there's nobody that can outshoot them tonight. I think you brought up some great points with Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. Those guys were certainly baptized, but I also look kind of to the point of William Anderson. I mean, the kid is playing disruptive football. I mean, causing fumbles, getting to the quarterback. How awesome was it to see William Anderson come up with a sack or in the strip, and then Tim Smith falling the ball for the fumble? I mean, those are two freshmen. You add on Brian Branch, you add on Malachi Moore, 4 freshmen that are playing at this level in the SEC championship game. Are those guys even really freshmen at this point of the season? I don't know, but I mean, they're freshmen, numbers wise. So it's really inspiring to see those guys. I thought the third quarter, Florida beat Alabama. That was the only quarter that they really controlled the game. I didn't like Sarkisian's game plan in that sense. I think it was too conservative. I think you needed to kind of double down and put some points on the board. He kind of went away from Najee. We didn't see Najee Harris at all in the third quarter. So that's kind of just my take. But yeah, Tobias, thank you so much, man. I'm going to run to my next caller, man, but I'll catch up with you soon, okay?
Got it, man. All right, peace.
All right, take it easy. Tobias, my good buddy out in Fresno, California. I appreciate him calling in. We're going to go right back to the phones. We got Kevin from Dallas, Georgia, 321. Kevin, what's up, man? Appreciate it.
Good evening, Kyle. Hey, before we get started, I just want to thank you as well as the rest of the crew for that work that you all put in on Wednesday. Greatly appreciate as far as all y'all did as far as National Signing Day.
Oh, yeah. That was certainly, one of our goals kind of coming in was to take our coverage to the next level and make sure that everybody on our channel is getting A+ content. I think that, that's one of our goals here at BamaInsider.com. So for you guys to notice that, it means a lot. And, kind of away we go. I mean, you go from signing day to the SEC championship, don't stop around here, Kevin. Go ahead, man. Take it.
Indeed. The theme, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 2 weeks is going to be mobile quarterbacks. So we're going to have to. Pete Golden, I hope you're listening. We're going to have a spy. Now, whether that spy is going to be Moses or whether it's going to be Harris, we have to have a spy for these next 2 games. Then also, Kyle, as far as it pains me to say this, but the University of Alabama needs, I don't know whether you're a card player or not, but back in JUCO as well as a 4-year institution, we played cards. And you always had, as far as if you didn't have a good hand, you had board, and you might say board +1. And the +1, if we need them, if it's nothing more than a decoy, I believe that they're going to have Jalen Waddle. I believe he's going to have to be the ace in the hole. If it's nothing more than being a high-priced decoy, Kyle, I think we're going to need him, man.
I mean, we saw, Jalen Waddle, I posted the footage from our team writer, Tony Stukalis today. I saw a little limp in that video. So, I mean, does Alabama need him for, the first round of the playoffs? No. Let's kind of revisit where he's at on January 11th. I think, maybe from the decoy standpoint, I think so. Kind of looking at Alabama's offense, and I showed the stats earlier on the screen. It was Mac Jones. It was Najee Harris. It was Devontae Smith. And I love the fact tonight that Sarkisian really put the football right in Najee Harris's belly. I mean, 30 carries in the SEC championship game. I loved personally when they split Najee out. He ran kind of a stop pattern and then cut across on a post for that touchdown. I thought that was a genius play call. So yeah, decoys, I mean, whatever they need to do, but I think that 1 versus 4, you know, I don't know if it's going to be Texas A&M. I don't know if it's going to be Notre Dame. I know it's going to be, you're right. It's going to be a more mobile quarterback. Ian Brook from Notre Dame. He's slippery. Kellen Munn, we've seen him plenty of times before. What's kind of your take on give me some more feedback on this defense. I mean, a lot of people, you know, pointing the finger at Pete Golding, 46 points allowed in the SEC championship game. What's your take on that?
Well, one thing I have to correct you on, Kyle, is that you can no longer call Tim Smith Tim Smith. You have to call him Debo. You can no longer call Drew Sanders Drew Sanders. You have to call him Mungo. So,
okay.
But it was good to see the freshman. It was good to see the freshman, and as I shared with the screener, I will honestly, Kyle, I will not be happier, sad to say, to see the upperclassmen leave than this upperclassman class, because the doggone freshmen are doing all the heavy lifting. I mean, okay, Moses, yes, he did. He made a few good plays. But then the majority of the time when you saw him, it was as far as the doggone, holding on to someone or in the same. So honestly, I'll be glad when the upperclassmen have gone on their merry way, and then we can put all the stock as we have been, and that's as far as the class of 20 and the class of 21, which unfortunately I've stated ad nauseum, Kyle, is that the class of this year's class as well as next year's class are going to be the one that's going to bring those rings home to Alabama.
I mean, it's really impressive to see, the amount of freshmen that are playing, especially on the defensive side. I keep pointing to William Anderson, who's proud, from the state of Georgia. I'm sure you saw, a lot of him, and kind of what he's been able to do at this level has been really incredible. Him with Malachi Moore. And just like Tobias said, I think Malachi Moore and Brian Branch, those guys got baptized going against some very, very talented Florida wide receivers. Wrap it up with a final thought, Kevin, as we kind of cruise through the show.
Well, the blessing is, as usual, Kyle, is that we will be always called New Orleans as far as Alabama West. So by that being the case, that's good. That's good for at least 7 to 10 points, just because, hey, we're playing in New Orleans. And hey, the only thing we just need to do is, as I think Tobias stated, is stay away from the COVID. Make it through these next few weeks as far as just go through our paces, but no one getting injured as far as in practice. And then, hey, we'll beat whoever we're playing the first round, and we just next step will be heading to Florida.
Next up, yeah, you got a trip to New Orleans and then a trip to Florida if things go well for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kevin, I appreciate it. Please call again next time. You always provide such great dialogue, and I love your connection, man. Crystal clear. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, thanks. Take care and be blessed.
Thank you so much. You too, man. Have a blessed Sunday with your family. Appreciate it. All right, next we're going to go right back to the phones. You got Robert from Mobile, Alabama in 3, 2, 1. Robert, good evening, man. Thank you very much for calling into the show.
Hey, Kyle. Thanks for taking the call. I kind of agree with your last caller, and I disagree with some of your other callers about, we'll play better teams down the road than Florida, which is why we got to dump on Pete Golding, although I'm going to dump on Pete Golding. But I don't think we're going to play better teams down the road. Florida is an elite team. They deserve to be a playoff team. I think they're the best offense we're going to play for the rest of the season. I think their offense is better than Clemson's offense. And so I don't think it's going to be but unfortunately it'll be more of the same with Clemson. And the offense is definitely better than Ohio State's and definitely better than Notre Dame's, in my opinion. And they're comparable to Clemson. There'll be more of the same with Clemson. And again, the issue we have with Pete Golding is, okay, yeah, we're not going to hold the Floridas or the Clemsons under 30 points. The chance where they get 30 points. It's when you give them 40 points. That's when it gets bad. That's when okay, if you can't stop the good teams from getting 40 points, then then the defense isn't that good. You still don't have the defense where it needs to be. 30 points. The new shutout in 2020 for a team is what someone said 17 points. That's a new shutout. A good showing with a good team, a great offense is 30 points. If you got a great defense, you should be able to hold a great offense 30 points or less. That's not too much to ask from a defense. And Pete Golden, too often is failing to give us that, and that's where our problems come in. The offense has showed, hey, but whether Ray Lewis used to say, hey man, all you got to give me is 20 points. Back when the Baltimore defense was good, well, Alabama's offense would say, hey defense, just hold them under 30, and we'll get the rest. If you just keep them under 30, we'll cruise to the victory. Well, defense has got to be able to do that, and they got to get key stops when we need key stops. Don't mean you're going to shut them down, every play. Well, unless you couldn't cross the 50-yard line back in the day, but we need you to stop 3rd and 17. We need you to be able to consistently stop 3rd and 17. When you're not stopping 3rd and 17 at a crucial point in the game, all right, you're not doing your job tonight. And that's where we were running in with. That's what we were seeing on the field. Now, the first half they were okay. Holding them with 17 points. Okay, if you had done that in the second half, just 17 points, again, we're cruising to the win. We don't need. We scored enough points in the first half on offense to where if you just give them 34, we win the game. We'll cruise to this victory. And the defense wasn't able to do that. There's a lot of pressure on the offense. They constantly have to worry about scoring because your defense isn't going to get you a stop.
Yeah,
I mean it's the Big Ten. It's the Big Ten defenses. It's what we're up against. So that didn't win for Oklahoma. But again, Florida's offense is as good as anybody we're going to see.
Hey, Robert,
in fact, it's better.
Let me ask you a question. And I think you're hitting on some great points. I want to ask you about Dylan Moses. Think he's a liability for this team?
Yes, his draft stock. You'd be broke if you own stock in Dylan Moses right now. If he was in your portfolio, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. If they draft him, if they picked him up a point higher than 3rd round, I would be furious with the Steelers. So I mean, that's I say no, you're overpaying for him if you pick him anything higher than 3rd round, maybe in 4th round. And a lot of these freshmen, like the previous caller said, you're almost starting to think, hey, maybe it's time for you guys to, when you guys go, we won't be wondering how we're going to replace you as much as when it was Jonathan Allen and Reuben Foster. I think we'll be doing pretty good. I don't want to dump on them too much because I don't think they're listening to us. But Dylan Moses is becoming a liability. But on that 3rd and 17, he's out of position again.
Sure.
And like the guy said, he makes a few good plays, but when you need that alpha dog play right then, he doesn't get it for you. And the big 4 on offense, again, that's your alpha dogs. That's what you expect your alpha dogs to do. Come up like that. But the big 4, of course, is Devontae, Najee, Mac Jones, and Will Riker. That's the big 4. They come through in a crutch when you need them. But our defense, when the competition gets hot and the competition gets tougher, they're starting to fade again. And it's beginning to be the same old. Now I think the offense is showing it can score with anybody, and which is what we don't have an injured Tua that's only not working on like 80% and not able to get the ball down like he was with Mac Jones. We got 100%. About 100% you can get this time of the season. But Mac Jones is as healthy as you can be at a quarterback. And that's why we're able to still score these points in the crunch when we need it. I'm not worried about Notre Dame. They've shown that they are not one of the 4 best teams in the country, and Alabama should be able to handle them just as well as Clemson did. And Ohio State didn't impress me either. I'm not worried about you. You'll just barely get 30. We'll still get 40. We'll still get 52 on you too. That's Clemson. Clemson's the team. We all do that. But Clemson is I don't think they're any better than Florida. They're just as good. And if the offense stumbles, unfortunately, if the defense doesn't pick it up, they won't give us the gap, the space we need, to give us that a stop here and there down the stretch to make it so we can walk away comfortably. Enough stops, keep them under 30. Yeah, that's not a tall thing to ask. If you're a good defense, if you're in a great elite defense, college defense, that's what you got to do. If you're not doing that, well, then how elite are you? And Pete Golden is like the what do you call said, where were the adjustments?
Yeah.
So, okay, this wasn't working. Where was the adjustment? That's what we're not seeing.
All right, Robert, I got to move to my next call, man. I appreciate you calling in. Please call again. We got, remember, we got our playoff show tomorrow at 11 a.m. as well. Appreciate it, Robert. Thank you.
Okay, man.
All right. Great stuff from Robert out in Mobile, Alabama. Want to get your take. And as soon as we have an update, I believe we should be uploading Nick Saban's press conference here momentarily to our channel. So definitely check out that. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And Javarius, we're trying to get an update on Landon Dickerson. I'm sure Saban addressed it. I didn't watch Saban's press conference yet, but we just uploaded it, or we should here momentarily. So as soon as we get an update on Landon Dickerson, we will provide that. Who won the Heisman Trophy, in your opinion? Was it Mac Jones? Was it Devontae Smith? Well, I mean, Najee Harris certainly won the MVP. I mean, what he did tonight was incredible. We're going to go back to the phone lines right here. We got a 615. We're going to take it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
It's Stacey Floyd calling from Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm sorry, I missed your first name.
Stacey.
All right, what's up, Stacey? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man, it was a pretty good game, man. I knew the Crimson Tide was going to win this, but I was just really shocked on defense. I knew it was going to be the best offense we faced, but I figured that we would be able to, even though we got the talent just like Florida, and Florida got talent like us.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they'd be able to, lock it down, but I feel like some of the stuff was schematic. It was a few plays that you can't put on Pete Golden. A few players just didn't make plays, but I think most of the defense miscues look more schematically, and you can kind of see, you saw a couple of times Nick Saban was kind of getting into it with Pete Golden a little bit, trying to figure out, what was he thinking on a few play calls. So I think that's the Achilles heels for us. If we don't figure that out, those big plays, it just seems like every time, we get beat on something, there's always the big plays, so something has to happen there. And I think the interesting thing for me is, you got Charlie Strong on that staff. And it seems like, he's the defensive guy that we've known, throughout college football. That's what got him head coaching jobs. So, I mean, it'd be nice to see if he can put some input into it, or maybe he does, and just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I think, kind of when you look at this team, there's a lot of things that you can point to that are, the positives and the negatives. I mean, it seems like, the entire season and it's been, the positive has been this Alabama offense. I mean, and I think the catalyst has been that offensive line has been so dynamic. That's why I bring up this next point about Landon Dickerson. This is just on BamaInsider.com. This is from our team writer. So I haven't even checked this out yet, but he says Alabama center Landon Dickerson suffers pretty serious knee injury. Here's a story from Tony Sukalis, our team writer. I'll just read it out real quick. You can check it out at BamaInsider.com. Atlanta, Georgia. Alabama won the Classic, but might have lost its most important piece of its offense in the process following the Crimson Tide's 52-46 victory over Florida in Saturday's SEC championship game. Nick Saban updated the status of the injured center, Landon Dickerson, who had to be carted off the field in the fourth quarter. He had a pretty serious knee injury, Saban said. We don't know the extent of it. We'll do an MRI tomorrow and find out. It's pretty serious, I think, but we don't know for sure. So if you want to read more, go back to BamaInsider.com. Big update. I mean, and that would be, monumental. So sorry to kind of interrupt, Stacey, but I just saw that we had that update back on BamaInsider.com. Stacey, I mean, kind of when you look at the Final Four remaining teams, you got to think, Clemson is really the only team that can really challenge this Alabama Crimson Tide team. I mean, you think this defense can step up and stop a Trevor Lawrence? Because, I mean, it seemed like Clemson is peaking at the right time.
Yeah, that's what I think, with the guys we have on defense, that's why it's a big deal to, whether it be, guys just not making plays or schematically, they just got to make those plays. Because to me, it's all a team effort, offense, defense, special team. But when another side of the ball got to change what they doing because, you can't even hold down your side to an average pace, that becomes an issue for the whole team. And you saw the offense in the second half pretty much had to change what they were doing.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we're scoring fast with these guys. Let's, have these longer drives because our defense is not keeping up with their offense. And now we got to change what we're doing. And I feel like when a team has to do that,
that never plays to your benefit more times than not. So,
hey, Stacy, before I let you go, and I think you're a first-time caller, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, cool, man. We'll save the number. So, because we have frequent call-in shows right here on BamaInsider.com. I want to ask you this, and one of our users just brought this up right here on our call-in show. Did you see all those fumbles recoveries that weren't called fumbles? What was your take on that? It seemed like Florida fumbled the football like 3 times, and Alabama would jump on them, and they didn't call them fumbles.
Yeah, like the crazy thing is they were reviewing every single first down or fourth down. They were reviewing every single one, but turnover down, they weren't reviewing it. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. There was a couple times that they definitely missed some play calls. That should have been fumbles. Well, Stacy, thank you very much, man. I'm cruising through the calls tonight because we're pushing past the midnight hours and we still got tons of work to do. But please call again, and we'll catch up with you soon. Okay.
All right, appreciate it, man. Keep up the good work.
Hey, thank you, Stacy. Appreciate it. All right. We're flying through the calls, so we'll try to get. I'm going to take a couple more calls, and then I got some work to do back on BamaInsider.com as we push past SEC after dark. We're taking Jay from ATL next. Jay, what's up, man?
Hey, Kyle.
How you doing, man?
How you been?
I've been doing great, man. Holy cow, that was a lot of points.
Yeah, and you know what? Those were all fumbles. That was ridiculous. We fell on one of them, and it didn't even review it. It was insane. And then the one on the goal line, Tony definitely fumbled. Like, you could see the ball falling out of his hand before his elbow was down. Anyway, so the few things I want to touch on. Definitely don't. I think what people need to pay attention to, or the news that came out today, was that Justin Fields was playing with a sprained thumb. I think Ohio State's legit. I wouldn't just say that they're not going to be a threat. And Ohio State ran the heck out of the ball, which is something Florida didn't have any ability to do. And you really should be sweating that running game from Ohio State. And the other thing is Trevor Lawrence is a heck of a better runner than Trask.
Yeah.
And Trask wasn't having any issues on those keepers.
Yeah. Zero issues.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I think you bring up 2 good points right off the bat. Number one, the running game. Look, I didn't think Ohio State looked overly impressive, but the running game, that can be a problem. In the past, the teams have sliced Alabama right through the middle of the field. And you bring up a great point about Trask. I mean, the guy was picking up every single first down that he went for. And what is he, like 6'5"? Trevor Lawrence is like 6'8" with his helmet on. I mean, the guy's going to get everything. Plus he can run pretty good.
Yeah, and in the ACC game today, that's what they kept talking about. Is like, Trevor's deceptively fast. He's got that long stride.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's like guys were getting to him. The defensive ends were getting back there. I mean, 20-30% of the time they were getting to him. He was just slipping right by him. Like, they would wrap up they'd get his shins or his ankle, and he's busting off a 15-yard run. He just makes it look so easy. So, I mean, either whether it's Clemson or Ohio State, I really would stress that the running game could bite Bama. And I know that we're so sad about Landon, but I do want to point to one beautiful moment is that, we've talked in earlier calls, you and I, like how much we could detect early in the season, how much Landon meant to this team. And Mac at press is talking about his relationship with Landon. And clearly tonight, when they came out and everyone came out to that card, that was really special, really, really special to see how much that team loves Landon. I just really would say, it hurts, and we hope he recovers, but what a beautiful moment to see that team unite around him. And then the other thing is, man, Mechie hit of the year.
Oh my God.
Like, that saved the game, in my opinion. Like, my dad and I were watching it, and my dad was at the Sugar Bowl national championship when we beat Miami. And I said, Dad, that to me is like a momentum shifter, like when Teague ran down Miami's receiver. And I mean, arguably one of the greatest plays in Alabama history, but still, that's how it felt to me tonight, that Mechie just pulled that play and turned it around. I said to my dad at that moment, I'm like, that may have saved the game. That play right there kept the momentum from getting out of hand. But so shout out to Mechie. And then the last thing, Tebow, I love the guy, man. Like, he was on ESPN earlier this week And Stephen A was just going crazy about Alabama. And I'm sitting there watching the ESPN guys going, dude, we don't match up great against Florida. And Tebow knew that, and he held his ground. So respect to Tebow for saying that he didn't think Bama would lose, but he thought Florida would keep it close. And that's exactly what happened. And Saban came out to the field after shaking hands with the coach, Florida coach, came over to the journalist woman on the sideline and said, you know what? We knew we didn't match up great with Tony and Pitt. And they were putting Tony everywhere. They were just throwing him all over the place. And Saban knows he's got a good secondary, but those guys aren't big enough to cover Pitt. And they're not fast enough to keep up with Tony. So I don't think that our secondary is as bad as they look tonight. It was a real mismatch. And Job, yeah, he had some mistakes, and it was bad. And like the offside thing was crazy bad. That could have totally ended the game. But Job, I just again want to point to the positives. Job made some incredible plays on that same drive where he was just in the pocket of the receiver and just perfect timing, busting his left hand in there to like knock the ball away. He did it twice on that drive. So I think Saban's definitely going to have a lot to say to those guys in the secondary, but altogether, I feel like they played a good game. They held their own enough to win it. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys, and I want to say that Landon Dickerson is such a special guy, and let's just all thoughts and prayers that it's not as bad as we're thinking it might be. So that's all I had for tonight.
All right. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate it, man. Definitely a good idea to keep thoughts and prayers for Landon Dickerson. I mean, that'll be an instrumental loss for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Thanks so much, Jay. Please call again, man. I always enjoy hearing from you.
Yeah, man.
Roll Tide, TJ. All right. We're going to take a 706 right now, and then we're just going to take a couple more callers. I'm sorry. I apologize. I have to go. I have some family that just got into town. So you guys know, when family comes, and I'm kind of going past that midnight time, but we just uploaded Nick Saban's press conference. So my apologies if I can't get to all the calls. Like, no hard feelings to you guys. I try, if I could, I go as long as possible. So I really appreciate you guys being with me. We're going to take a 706 right now. Hey, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Yeah, hi, Kyle. This is Ray from Atlanta. It's been a long time no hear, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Ray from Atlanta. Cool. Well, thank you so much. We just had Jay from Atlanta, and now we got Ray. So that's an easy update for me inside of my editing system. So go ahead, man. What's on your mind?
Hey, I've been listening to everyone offer their opinion and everything, and as much as I'm disappointed with the defensive effort, you do have to just tip your cap to some of the plays that some of their athletes made. I mean, they were phenomenal plays, like the play where Pitt scored their final touchdown, where he nearly jumped 12 feet up in the air. Nobody can defend that play. I don't care if you were Wilt Chamberlain. Nobody's going to go up there and then knock that ball down or take that ball out of that guy's hand. That was a phenomenal play. Tony, strictly, Kadarius Toney outran Malachi Moore, but I just felt that Malachi Moore didn't get enough depth with his, with his back pedal. Had he have been just a little bit more proactive and then just started just going back, he probably could have been in a better position, though. But overall, though, those guys are just phenomenal athletes. So, Kyle, I did want to just talk about the fact that everybody's bragging about Clemson, about what they did to Notre Dame. And then one caller was exactly right. He said that they have Notre Dame is overrated, in my opinion. Now, having said all of that, so when you look at Clemson, I think that Clemson has not faced any type of an offense that is explosive like the one that we just faced. Mm-hmm. Show me where Clemson has actually met up with like a high-powered offense. I don't think, because as I was looking through their schedule, I'm looking at Virginia Tech, but I think they played North Carolina. They played Virginia. I think they played those teams. And then, those teams aren't explosive like what we had to endure. So I think that will be the toughest if we get to that part, which I think that we will. I just don't will be like the toughest offense that they're going to face. And then as far as defense goes, I don't think that yeah, true, they got Lawrence. True, they got Travis Etienne. True, they got number 6, who made a fantastic one-handed catch in the ACC championship. But overall, I think Florida brings a different type of dynamic within their offensive scheme because, they were going empty a lot. And then basically they were forcing you to utilize as much personnel as you can. I think with Clemson, it's going to be a little bit easier to defend because, true, ATN can take it to the house, but I think they were better equipped in stopping their run. But as far as, the playmakers, I think that athlete for athlete, I just think that Florida has better athletes than Clemson on the outside. So I think that we'll be better able to handle them.
Yeah, I think I mean, and I like to give credit to, some of our past callers were saying that, Florida's wide receivers and Kyle Pitts. I mean, those guys are going to be problems. I knew they're going to be problems. They've been fantastic all year, and credit to those guys for what they've done this season and coming with it in the SEC championship game. Those guys did a great job, and I think, look, Dan Mullen, I get it. He's pretty strange, but I think he did a good job getting those guys focused to play in the SEC championship game. Because let's face it, those guys could have turned it in. They could have opted out, whatever, after that loss to LSU, but they came back, they played for the SEC championship and took it to Alabama. And I think they played Alabama the best out of anybody's played this team. And let's face it, this is, one of the best teams that Nick Saban has put together. And just kind of the year that they're having has been incredible. So to see Florida kind of reset their mind in a sense and to come with it and to take it to Alabama tonight, I think that says a lot about them. Give me your final thought, man, as we close out.
Yes, sir. My prayers are out there with Landon Dickerson. I hope that it's not too serious because to me, it just looked like a regular play. I couldn't see whether or not his knee had given out though, but apparently I guess it did. But it was a great block. I just hope that we can do a shift on the offensive line because I just don't trust Chris Owens because he lost out. He lost the job to Landon Dickerson. Yeah, but I don't trust him at all. Maybe we can move number 55. I think his name is Ekior. Maybe we can move him to center because, so I think that he could give us that push there if Landon can't continue. But then we would have to find a right guard then, obviously, though. But for all intents and purposes, though, I just hope that it's not as serious as what it looks. But if it is, it's just next man up and roll tide.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the conversation, and please call again next time. I appreciate you being patient on the line, and God bless, and I hope you have a fantastic Sunday.
You too, Kyle. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, fam. That's good for me. I got to go. I got some stuff coming your way on BamaInsider.com. I got Nick Saban's press conference that I just uploaded. I'm uploading Dan Mullen's press conference right now. If I didn't get to you, no hard feelings, please. I respect all you guys, and I love that you guys are part of the channel. You guys make the site what it is. So thank you very much for everything that you guys add to us right here on BamaInsider.com. I'll be back tomorrow. We got the playoff show, so we got to get rested. We got to get focused and back tomorrow on BamaInsider.com. Have a great night. Check out Nick Saban's press conference along with Dan Mullen's press conference right here on BamaInsider.com. Good night, fam. I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Good night.